I was probably overly polite in the way I didn't respond.
Are you going to be less polite then?
I'm going to be I'm going to smile a lot.
What do you mean when you said you're not going to be as polite in the next debate?
We'll see.
Joe Biden says he won't be polite in next week's debate, rolling out a new, apparently aggressive approach to his Democratic rivals. In recent days, Biden has responded to attacks from fellow candidates on his record. He called out Senator Cory Booker for advocating stop and frisk searches when Booker was mayor of Newark after Booker took Biden on over criminal justice. And Biden said the health care proposal of Senator Kamala Harris is not legitimate and would wipe out private insurance. Joe Biden is among a number of presidential candidates who are at the 2019 National Urban League Conference in Indianapolis. And joining us now, President and CEO of the National Urban League, Marc Morial. Mr. Morial, it's always good to see you. Thanks for taking some time on a busy week for you. You saw a lot of candidates. You shared the stage with many of them at the conference yesterday. Who's popping down there? Who's getting the most attention and the most reaction? Oh, I don't think do we have Mark's mic? Okay, all right, we lost his mic. So let's talk about that back and forth. We saw a little bit of it there. We'll get to Marc Morial in just a second when we fix his mic. Joe Biden, Cory Booker. Cory Booker's going at Joe Biden on criminal justice reform. We saw Kamala Harris at the last debate on busing. What are they getting at here?
I don't think they're getting anywhere, frankly, for a few reasons. I think voters aren't stupid. Okay? They understand the nuances of things that happened 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. And I believe, and I've said this on the show before, that Joe has a lot of what Trump had, the Teflon thing. The Republicans wanted Trump so bad at one point, and they saw him as a winner. They were willing to let a lot slide. And you're seeing that even after the horrific debate performance the first time around, it has slid off him. Because, as every poll shows, what matters to people is perception. Can you beat Trump? And I think in a strange way, Biden is going to bounce back. He's going to be like Obama after that first really bad debate. And all he's got to do is not trip over himself. He just needs a B-, and he wins.
But he also, I'm sorry.
Jeremy, I was just going to say that Biden was surprised by what happened on the stage. I think he just wasn't ready for it. He, in fact, said out loud this week, I was surprised by what Kamala Harris said. I thought we were friends. He said, I think he'll be more ready the second time.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't have an answer for it. You can kind of tell when he said at the end there, my time's up. When has Joe Biden ever said, hey, I'm done talking, I don't have any more to say? Yeah. I think what's really interesting there is whether or not Biden, Donnie, is the Jeb Bush of this cycle or the Mitt Romney of this cycle. Does he never really recover? Does he keep kind of stumbling and fall back? You know, his numbers have you're right, they've come up. Or is he Romney, who kind of goes through the slog and is wounded by the time he ends up becoming the nominee because he's had such a brawl with his fellow?
I think he's even okay. But the interesting thing is this whole race thing. To me, after what we saw only 8 days ago in North Carolina, our president basically saying, go back to where you came from, people of color. And if there are nuanced race arguments between the Democrats, I think people know, guys, there's a bigger beast to slay out there, and we're going to talk about bills of 20, 30 years ago. We're all the good guys. So I think any of the candidates start getting into a race fight on stage, you are missing the big picture.
I actually think Biden may have been being a little strategic here, talking about stop, question, and frisk, because Bill de Blasio is going to be on that stage. Bill de Blasio came in as mayor saying, I will end the policy, and he did. And crime has not taken the big increase that everyone thought. So I think he set that up as a perfect foil for Bill de Blasio to go after Cory Booker and let them have at it and kind of keeps him out of that whole issue altogether.
So, you know, there's been some talk, Gene Robinson, this morning even of Joe Biden stumbling. We should all stumble so well. He's up 18 points in the Fox News poll. He's up 27 points in South Carolina and leading President Trump by 8 points in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, allow me to stumble my way through this answer. I mean, no, he is, he's more than old, familiar Joe Biden with name recognition at this point, because everybody recognizes everybody's name now. Biden does have a history, and as Donnie said, a lot of it is ancient history. And I think what he needs to do, and what he will do, is in this debate, is go back to the theme that got him that lead. Remember when he announced his campaign and he went right after Donald Trump. He went after the national emergency. He went after the idea that this is an exceptional moment in the nation's history when we have to get back on track. We have to get back on the course we had been sailing. We have to stop this awful, destructive deviation that this president is trying to take us on as he drives wedges between Americans and between us and our allies and everything else. And that, I think, should be his focus, and he should parry attacks as they come. But that's to me, in the Democratic primary, that should be a winning argument. And I think, I would advise all the candidates to focus more of their fire on President Trump than on each other.
Well, I would double down on that argument for sure, because at this point, the enemy is within to an extent. But it's the platform, the megaphone, and the ability to communicate to people who might be wavering on this. And I wonder, Gene, I mean, we've got Joe Biden polling well among African-American voters. Another area where I think he does well is exactly what he was talking to us about on Morning Joe at a bar in Philadelphia during the last election, and it was about Hillary Clinton. And he said, she's not talking to us. Middle-aged white guys from Ohio, from Delaware, from anywhere across America. Who's going to appeal to the disenfranchised Trump voter? That's an area that's really important. And if you're too far left, and you're for all these Democratic platform issues that are way over on the left, you're not going to get those voters. And I think they're just as important. Who's going to do it? I think it's Joe Biden.
Well, Mika, I've been wondering for a while if our traditional concepts of what's left and what's right aren't outdated at this point. I mean, you look at the policy positions that Donald Trump took in winning in 2016, and a lot of them you would think belong more on the left than on the right. So it's a weird time when we're undergoing this sort of realignment. I worry less about what seems too left, what seems too right, as to what seems relevant to me. What issues seem relevant to me, and Biden, as we see in the poll numbers we just ran over from, we just looked at from Ohio, for example. That Ohio is a state that a lot of Democrats think is basically lost, and all of a sudden you see him beating Trump in Ohio in the polls, and that tells me that there are a lot of those voters you're talking about there, not just in Ohio, but throughout the Midwest and the Rust Belt, who see Biden as somebody who's on their side. That shouldn't have to be exclusively Biden, but he's ahead of the others right now.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to get more with Mayor Mark Morial after a quick break. We'll be right back with much more Morning Joe.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.